Hey, Tesley. Hi. Tesley. Baby girl. Hi. Yeah, this baby girl. That's Tez baby. That's right. That's a baby girl. Oh, welcome to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. We've got a full full screen for you guys. We've finally got some cat footage. That's right. You love cats, right? Well, there's a fat cat right there. That's right. You're the best fat cat. Welcome. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Scholars, it's time to put this in the books. Time to wrap it up. We're on the clock. It's time to wrap up. Okay. But I'm not doing anything like overly fancy video. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. So I'm not doing skits. We're just gonna have an actual conversation. What do I mean? Well, last week, or the week, you're gonna be watching this on Monday, but the week before, there was this big old explosion of drama around Bradley the Bradster and Tiz. It's Tizzle, probably more well known in the community than I thought, because I didn't know who they were. Really well known as like a low man runner, has a lot of accolades, has a lot more experience in certain parts of the game than I do. So he made a video criticizing and critiquing some of the most recent bugs in Destiny. Then we had a new blood into the Destiny community, content creator who's dipping his toes into Destiny, reacted to it, and to be very honest, brutally honest, gave a very insincere reaction and thought process to it, while under the guise of having some kind of conversation, though he wasn't willing to have a conversation. I still believe that even now, he is not actually wanting the conversation, especially when you're 2 minutes and 30 seconds into a video and you've come to a conclusion at the very beginning that the arguments are stupid and that there's nothing to be said. That's essentially what happens. And in the process, Bradley set off a bombshell that pissed everyone off. And it's not just because of me reacting to Tizzle's video or reacting to Bradley's video. It's not because of Tizzle. Like, it's not like suddenly the wider range of the Destiny community is listening to two people talk about the issue. What happened is that Bradley made the most erroneous choice to group everyone who had anything to say, whether it be criticism or just negative in general, or just people who are hating the game, who are just haters, and he grouped them together as one, which, I don't know if you know this, but when you overgeneralize, you group the wrong people into a group, they get pissed off, and it makes you look bad. And guess what? It made Bradley look incredibly bad. In fact, it made it so bad and became such an issue that he issued this apology, which I'm going to say this right now. If you didn't do anything wrong, you don't need to do an apology. But he done cooked his goose. I could go and we can go and react to every little point, but that's what the video I already reacted to it. We're just moving into the final conclusion of I think this is a good learning process for people. I think this is a good learning process for people to just jump in and to learn from it. What do I mean? Well, before, the reason I reacted to Bradley is simply because this is not something new to just new players or just Bradley. The mindset that he came in was very ignoring all the apparent problems, which is something that does happen in the Destiny community. Which is why I said was insincere. It's like, if you're going to have a conversation, then be willing to talk to people who have experience, which, funny enough, I didn't realize I followed him on Twitch, like when Astrocross was running with him, because I was like, it piqued my interest. Like, who's this guy? He's new, he's fresh, he's trying to get into the game. I was like, okay. So I followed him. And then after the whole drama, I checked into the channel. And I was like, okay. And then I go back again to check in a stream to see how things are going after the reaction of the reaction that I did. And apparently I was banned. I guess apparently I got a subscription, subby wubby, on Twitch, which I never used. So I'm sorry, whoever wasted their money. Sorry about that. Got a gift sub, and I got banned on Twitch, which is funny because I think that's the first and only time I've ever been banned on Twitch by someone. Never message on it. You can really tell that he's really wanting to have a conversation when he just bans someone who hasn't said anything in his chat, like, at all, like not a single message. Anyways, here we are. We're looking at the conclusion of this. And like I said, I think this is a good learning process. I just want to make a note that a lot of people tried to paint this issue as new players can't have an opinion. And that's not what happened here. I think new players can have an opinion. Like, for example, Milo, Mr. Waffles from the zombie community, has had some interesting takes. He's starting to get into the Destiny. He's starting to understand the community a little bit. But he has opinions on the game. He's enjoying it. And I think you should be able to enjoy the game. I think it's great that you're enjoying the game. I think people who are the most critical of the game want to enjoy the game or enjoy aspects of the game. They just want to see it improve. They don't want the game to die. So if you're a new player and you're enjoying yourself, that's fantastic. I'm glad, because without new players, the game will shrivel up and it will die. So you want more players. You want people invested. I think the big argument was, one, Bradley's not just a new player, he's a content creator. And two, he was punching up and also punching the crowd of the community who's been very vocal about Destiny and some of the issues, and he dismissed them, which he learned the hard way. I've seen it in so many comments between my video, Tizzle's video, and Bradley's video about how many people were just against Bradley. And again, it has nothing to do with about just the new player opinion. I think you can be positive. It's just when you go over into toxic positivity, where you paint everything in a picture perfect, and you ignore the problems. Again, I think it's okay to be critical of Destiny. You can love the car and hate the driver. You can be critical of the car, but you can also love driving it, getting behind the wheel, taking it for a spin. I think this is completely fine. And I don't know why we're trying to build this train of thought that you can't criticize something, or if you're overcritical, then you just need to go play a different game. And I think that's illogical. I think there's a lot of people, like even in sports and in any other media, that are critical of it, but still love doing it because that's their passion. And I love playing video games. I enjoy playing games. Destiny's been an intricate part of my life. It went from Halo to Destiny, because Halo used to be the sauce. It used to be my jam. It used to be every day. I would lug around my Xbox. I'd go down the hill, like the old Xbox, and I'd play Halo 2. Me and my buddy, he would always use swords because he was like the samurai guy who loved using swords, and I was the shotgun guy, and we'd have a shotgun versus sword fight, literally 1v1, and we'd spend hours goofing around and playing. I'm just a dude who likes to play video games, who gives criticism because he wants to see games improve. And that was one of the things I said about being a shit eater, is that I didn't equate it to just Destiny. I talked about how this is a broader issue. And it's a broader issue. Bradley pointed out and made the argument that, oh, games come out buggy. It happens all the time. And my counter argument is that should not be acceptable. Not only that, I would argue, say that some of the bugs that come out in other games are not to the extent that are in Destiny. In fact, right now, people can't do certain aspects of the Revenant storyline because they're locked out. And there's a bunch of other stuff that's clearly broken. And I mean actually broken. We could sit there and have this debate, but the reality is Bradley did not want a conversation. Tizzle reached out to me on Twitter. I could find it. Let's see. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. It's not like we talked about anything bad, but I didn't get permission to reveal anything for a video. So out of respect, I'm not going to. But he reached out to me and talked to me after seeing my video. And it's crazy because I'm not like that big of a YouTuber. I just do this as a hobby. Bradley could have easily reached out and communicated to Tizzle, have a conversation with him, but he didn't. He could have reached out to talk to several people, and he didn't. And that's the problem, is Bradley didn't want a conversation. He never wanted a conversation. It was never about a conversation. The video was very dismissive, was anti-conversational. It was painting everything as if you criticize the game, you're just a complainer. And that's the bottom dollar. It was very insulting, which is why he got a lot of heat. I don't hate the guy. I don't want the guy to get hate. But I think that the community and those who are desiring to become future YouTubers and content creators for Destiny, my word of advice, don't try to punch up. Don't try to tell people that their valid criticism isn't valid, or that just because you are having a good time doesn't mean that people aren't justified in their criticism. It has nothing to do whether you're a new player. It's just if you're a new player and you think you know better, you don't. I would love to see like a conversation, even if it's not between me. Like if Bradley wanted to have a conversation, that's sure, whatever. You know, I'm down. I'm always. We don't even have to talk about any of the problems. We can just talk about some of the stuff, the history of Destiny. I don't care. I'm all about it. But honestly, he could reach out to Tizzle and just have like a mini podcast about Destiny and just talk about it, hash it out. That's between those guys. Let's just read and see what we got here. Hey guys, I just want to address this and close out my final thoughts on the situation and put it to rest. I don't want to make another video on the topic. First, I am a new player. Yep. After reading hundreds of comments from you guys, I have more clear understanding of your point of view and also your frustrations as a veteran player of Destiny 2. I know how easy it is for me to be optimistic as a new player and having access to all this awesome content as opposed to waiting for each content drop over the years. I don't mean just... So I just want to say right now, you can be optimistic. Like, I don't think there's a problem being optimistic. I will absolutely say that I am, most of the time, I'm more pessimistic just because I know how Destiny is. And I gauge that way because when new content comes out, if I'm not being overly optimistic, sometimes I'm surprised, and it's a nice surprise. Like, for instance, a nice surprise I had with the episode was the seasonal weapons. There's some really good seasonal weapons. Also, a surprise, if you haven't noticed on my channel, I've made 2 videos about the Stronghold flash counter build and like just how much fun I've had with that. And Bungie just changed that perk this episode. And so it's okay to be optimistic, but I also think it's okay to be pessimistic, to be cautious, to not overdo it and expect too much, because then you'll lead yourself into disappointment, which will lead to you being more jaded. Which is why I've tempered my expectations from Bungie of recently. I don't mean to dismiss the disappointment you guys have felt over the years. Hey, not everyone's trying to get DoorDash. That's all I gotta say. I know moving forward, I need to be better about expressing my opinions instead of alienating yours. Just avoid broad brushes. I think that will help you a lot. Like, if you were talking about people who are just hating to hate, and I have those people, why are you playing that dead game? Imagine playing Destiny in 2025. Why play Destiny when you can play Monster Hunter? Which I'm not gonna be too upset about that one. Like, a lot of people are excited about Monster Hunter. But there are really actual people, genuine people who hate this game. They want it to absolutely die. And then you have people like me who still play the game, but we're very critical of the game. I don't even say necessarily the game. We're critical of Bungie because Bungie is the one piloting it and they're doing a really bad job. And we don't want it to die, which is why we're critical, because we're passionate about a game that we enjoy. I know moving forward, I need to be better about expressing my opinions instead of alienating yours. You probably should have done that, thought about your choices before you reacted. I don't know what the point was to react. It almost felt like he came into the video just based on watching and looking at his body language, his facial expression. It almost felt like he had his mindset pre-made. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty good with looking at people's facials. I mean, I was trained as a clinical therapist to look at that stuff, but I'm not the knower of everything. Just because I'm trained at something doesn't mean I know and I'm the best at it. Second, I generally enjoy playing this game, which is great. I don't think anyone is saying you can't enjoy the game. I want to do whatever I can to help restore it to its former glory. I wish I could tell you that you would have the chance to do that. But Bungie as the driver is the sole determination. And I'll give you a perfect example. If content creators was all that was needed to save this game, then Lightfall would have been that absolute banger. Because they paid so many top tier streamers and content creators who don't even play Destiny to play and stream Destiny. If Destiny was going to be the heat like Marvel Rivals did, and there's a lot of streamers who play and main Marvel Rivals who have elevated that thing to high heights. Let alone itself was doing that, but the content creators are adding to that, obviously. But for Destiny, with all the paid played content creators, if that was enough to really save and bring back former glory, it would have worked. But it didn't. You can't pay content creators to save a game that isn't appeasing. The general audience for Destiny is pretty much already playing the game. You may be able to scrap along a couple new people, but you have to realize that Destiny is plagued with the sin that will never be removed, which is funny because Bradley did mention saying that, well, we can't really talk about the sunsetting, but it's talked about everywhere. People who don't even play Destiny that I play other games with, if I mention Destiny or Destiny comes up, they immediately say, isn't that the game that removed paid content? And I say, yes, absolutely it is. And technically they still do. They still sunset seasons. You pay for the content and they sunset it. Now they do the broad brush of sunsetting weapons and armor? No. But the activities you paid for absolutely do get sunsetted. I think there's a lot of issues that the game needs fixed if we want it to have its glory back. And here's the thing. It may be too tarnished. You may be able to bring a couple new people, but I'm going to be honest. I think its glory days is kind of behind it. You're talking about an old game that's been up and down. Most of the dedicated players have left. Even with Heresy being a slight improvement from the past 2 episodes, it's still not enough to keep people. I mean, you look at Monster World Wilds. Over 1 million players alone on Steam are playing. Heresy comes out and we can barely even get to like 800K on Steam alone. Pretty bad. Whether it makes fun, interesting content, helping new players on stream, or making a reaction video to another creator, I want to react to this and spark up a conversation about how you guys felt about the game. I did not feel that. It felt like your mind was concluded and it wasn't having a conversation. Like, I feel like at that point, you should have watched the video and then wrote down some points and have a conversation with people. Like, how are people really thinking about this? Reach out to Tizzle. Could have really had a conversation with him. Like, hey, I have some questions about some of this content. Which, by the way, I did criticize Tizzle about his over focus on content creator stuff. Like, okay, you're making a video talking about the content creator side of stuff. A lot of new players are not going to connect with that. Which he then responded to me and said, you know what? You're right. He took the feedback. He took the criticism. It was constructive. All you have to do is talk to someone about it. Like, have a real conversation, which is what I did, which is crazy. Most people had conversations, comments, which I'm appreciative. So thanks for that. Okay. Third, I didn't mean any disrespect to anyone in this community, and this was done live and on top of my head. But here's the thing. You took a recording, like it was on Twitch, and then you posted it also on YouTube. And it was edited too, with the disclaimer. So someone took the time to look at the video. Man, I want to make a joke about DoorDash, but I'm going to be better than that. I do not regret making this video. However, my words should have been chosen differently. Last but not least, I think it's important for the health and longevity of this game to hear both sides of the coin, new players and veterans. Again, if you're wanting to talk about new players, then let's talk about the new player experience being so god-awful. Let's talk about how new players struggle to learn raids and dungeons. And as someone who's a veteran, I don't want to have to teach you. I'm sorry. I don't want to spend 2 hours on one raid. I have a full-time job. It is not my job to do carries. It's not. But you should, as a new player, should be able to experience it. You should be able to experience that content. And that's why the burden of responsibility to figure out this mess should be on Bungie. Those are the kind of conversations that we need to have and that we have been trying to have, but we're all bottling everything up into just criticism bad. You're just a complainer. And it's not just Bradley. There's the communities. There's like a small community of people that are like that. This was an attempt to start the conversation. I feel as if it could have done better. You could have just had an actual conversation with Tizzle. I will take full responsibility and accountability for this. Thank you for your comments, both positive and negative. I have learned a lot from the experience, and I will be a better content creator going forward. And that's the big thing. You're a content creator reacting to content. You're getting paid for it. And I know, like, if I'm getting paid a little bit and he has like 15K, and which is nothing to snuff about, like subscribers, and he does Twitch. I don't know how maybe he's got bits and actual paid subs there. Well, he does, because I got gift subs, so he's getting money from that. Like, it is almost hypocritical to make jokes about paying bills and paying for DoorDash when you were literally doing a react video on YouTube and you were doing the exact same thing. And that's the insincerity part that I don't like. But I hope in the future that if he reacts to it, at least one, he fully reacts to it before he comes into a conclusion. And two, I hope he reaches out to whoever reacts, have a conversation, make a video. Like, that's, as a content creator, that's how you want to make some content. That's how you reach out to them, have a conversation, especially if they're like Tizzle, who doesn't seem like he minds having those conversations. I'm just saying, if you want real conversations, you need to be actually genuine. His reaction was not genuine. Nothing about it was genuine. It wasn't funny. It was very disrespectful. Could Tizzle have framed the video better? Absolutely. I did criticize that. And he responded to that criticism. So hopefully in the future, we won't see that. Maybe he'll be like, when I say don't see that, like he'll be better at trying to portray this to a new player experience. But overall, I don't like the mentality of we're going to focus all on the positive and ignore any negative. I think there should be a balance. There should be absolutely a balance between both. If you want to be this is what's great about the game, and you don't want to be the guy that points out the negative, then fine. Be the positive side. Be the side that looks at all the good, and let the people who want to be criticized to see improvements to add to that good, right? You could do both, because one is you're helping the game stay afloat, while the other one's helping the game by giving constructive feedback so that it improves and adds to the good pile. And I think a good example of that is when Bungie tried to sell a $15 starter pack, selling exotics to new players. And the community said, no, we're not doing that. And it's been removed from the game. And thank God. Imagine Bungie trying to squeeze as much money out of new players who don't know any better, new players who maybe don't have YouTubers to carry them and help them unlock these exotics, new players who are desperate to try to get into the game and get caught up, try to get meta stuff, try to get stuff. Like one of them was Sleeper Simulant, which is what people are, they're still using it this season. Maybe not as much as the beginning of Sunder Doctrine on contest mode, everyone was using it. But yeah, I think there's examples where we absolutely need to be critical, and it is negative, and I think it's fair criticism. But no shade to Bradley. I hope in the future he truly does learn from this. I hope he's actually genuine and sincere. And I hope he reaches out. Look at Milo. How many collabs and interactions has Milo had? Dado, my name's Bife. I think he may have interacted with Astrocross. I'm not for sure. I'm trying to think who else, I think, was it Grenadier? I don't know who else he interacted with, but it was like some of the main people. I know Bife for sure. But he's interacting with some of these well-known streamers and getting some viewpoints. Now, whether you think that they're going to give a objective viewpoint or a subjective, overly positive viewpoint, that's up for discussion. But at least there's a discussion being had with Milo and in the community and these content creators. Actual discussions. So I'm going to wrap this up and hope that in the future we don't have to deal with this again. If you're a new player, welcome to Destiny. Prepared for a bumpy road, but when you are on the flat and narrow road and things are just smooth cruising, it's a very enjoyable experience. Just only when you start hitting potholes and things try to rip off your tires in your car, that's when you start having issues. And so I hope you don't have to worry about that. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button, comment down below. Until next time, don't forget to be the best version of yourself. And until next time,